Give wisdom and knowledge to those who are here, especially our board members and our president, oh Father God. Let them make the best decisions, oh Lord, for our college and our students here. Lord, I ask that you just grant them favor, Lord, and let us be the light, oh Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Call the meeting over. We begin by recognizing guests. On this, we have Barry Newman, Ruth, and Harold.
Cisneros. Cisneros.
Cisneros, Dr. Renee Zimmerman, Alma Ferreira, Montana Dragon, Julia Estrada, Roberto Plata, Underwood, Aubrey Hines, Melissa Lopez, Chuck Garabedian, Fred AJ Era, Aida Camilla, Roxana Renan, Emmanuel Zamora, Becky Diaz, Estrella Bustamante, Lilo Marquez,
Cervantes.
Cervantes, Juan Hernandez, Brittany Ramirez, Joseph Trevino, Gregorio Izquierda, Gabriel Martinez, Anthony Palacios, Jose Gonzalez, Oscar Apolinar, Diaz, Apolinar, Dave Gear, Wade Carter, Derek Sandoval, Andy Shell, Bonnie London, Carlos
Lopez.
Lopez, Lisa Ernest, Michael Bailey, Connie Buchanan, Ryan Aldred, Sandy Garza, Sarah Morales, Riviera Haynes, Dolly Schultz, April Ruman, Brenda Hoffman, Marlo Mott. I haven't missed anybody. Please stand up and introduce yourself. Well, do you have any audience to take?
No, sir.
Would you like a motion to consider an act on consent agenda? Minutes of the January 16th, 25 board meeting, financial statement January 13th, 25. Investment policy review, enrollment dates 2025. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seems like thank you there. Prior to starting our reports, we want to consider the possible approval of the resolution of the combined revenue bonds, Series 20258, provide for payment of the bonds and a lien on the trade revenues and state companies to the payment of the principal and interest on the bonds equally and available with certain granted and obligations. In the form terms and conditions involving other matters and case. And the rule of the bond. Authorized to execute payment of the agreement and purchase contract and
That's long. So this is item number 7 in your board packet. And you have a handout before you. I'd ask David to come to the microphone and kind of walk us through it. We had the actual pricing of the bonds this morning. So, David.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, President Gonzalez. Good evening, members of the board. What we have for you is a presentation today. If you all remember, we were here back in October talking about a refinancing opportunity for some bonds. in the middle of that discussion, the conversation came up about doing capital improvement plans and seeing if we can kind of do that all together to save on cost. So what we've done in the last couple of months is work with your staff to prepare documents, prepare to sell bonds in the open market. We've been doing that. We had calls with rating agencies, bond insurance companies, and we were in the market this morning. And what we have for you are the results. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you all have any questions at any time, just feel free to interject, and I'll answer anything you all have. If you turn to the first pair market update, which is on page 2, interest rates have steadily been going up. I'm not going to spend too much time on this page. I'm sure you all watch the news just like everybody else. The Fed at one point said they were going to cut rates in 2025, maybe 3-4 times. In just the last 2 or 3 months, they've basically put a halt to that. We'll be lucky if we see one rate cut in 2025. So we have seen a gradual increase in rates, mainly the 2-year and the 10-year Treasury. I'm going to jump over to the next page. These are the working group. These were the players that put all of this together to bring you all the results today. We have the issuer, Southwest Texas College. You have your financial advisors, your bond counsel, your senior underwriters. They're the ones that actually bring in the investors and get the funds necessary to sell these bonds. Cabrera Capital Markets, FHN. You have your bond insurer, which is Assured Guarantee. They had the winning bid. And then you have your paying agent, BOK Financial Securities. If you jump over to the next page, this is a rating report. I know you all have seen this one before. As y'all are aware, in 2024, the college district received a rating upgrade from Standard & Poor's. We went through that process again so that we can rate these bonds when we enter the market. So this has positive factors and negative factors. You all have seen all of this. This is pretty standard for college districts, and it's pretty standard for the region, whether you're a college, a city, a county, or a school. So currently, the college district they reaffirmed the rating, the bond rating of the underlying rating of the district at an A stable. So congratulations on that. They did say that the college district is in a trajectory to receive another upgrade in 2 or 3 years if certain things kind of keep moving in the right positive direction. But that's where the college district is heading. So congratulations to the college on that. Some of the bullet points there, positive factors. Operating surplus, which is expected to continue through at least the near term. Growing economy with rising assessed values. Relatively stable enrollment base, which grew in recent years following the pandemic. Good revenue diversity and significant revenue raising flexibility. On the bottom down to the negative factors, relatively lean, albeit growing financial resources, potential of increased competition risk in the next few years. And then S&P would consider a negative rating action of the college experiences significant enrollment decreases, causing financial operations and financial resources to decrease. We don't expect any of that, but that's how they view all college districts, and they have kind of the same metrics for all universities and college systems. If you jump over to the next page, this is page number 5. So the bonds that we sold this morning, it was a combination of about 10 million of revenue bonds and then about 4.5 million of refunding bonds. And these are the interest rates that we were able to lock in today. So on page number 5, if you look at the 2 columns to the far right, those are the interest rates that the college district is paying on every single maturity. So if you look at the terms on the second column from the left, those are the years, those are the bonds, individual maturities. And if you jump over to the right, that's what the district would be paying on these bonds. So if you look at, for example, second column from the left, starting at the top, 2026 going down, for the revenue bonds, you're paying a 2.99% maturity for your 2026 maturity. Your 3.02 interest rate for your 2027 maturity, a 3.06 for your 2028 maturity, and so on and so forth. You jump over to the right, it tells you the same thing. Those are the rates that you're paying on your refunding bonds. So what does that all really mean? At the end of the day, If you jump over to the following page, this is a cash flow analysis of what both of these bond transactions look like, which matters most to your additional bonds test, all the covenants that you all need to meet and qualify. So if you're starting from the left to the right, in column number 2, you have your existing debt service. In column number 4, you have your refunded bonds. Now in columns 4, 5, and 6, we're accounting for some new bond, the refunding bonds on that one. 4, 5, and 6 has your refunding bonds, and then columns 7, 8, and 9 have your revenue bonds. So you're basically adding up all of your existing debt, plus the new bonds, plus the cash flow that you have available for debt service. And what does that all mean? So you jump over to column 10, that's your total debt service. And then in columns 11, that's your coverage ratio. In your bond covenants, you need to be at least 1.25 times coverage. Well, you're in the neighborhood of about a 3.8 or 3.5 across the board. So that's very, very strong coverage. So from an additional bonds test standpoint, which is what rating agencies look at, you all are doing very, very well in that regard. If there's no questions, I'm going to jump over to the very next page. This is a summary of the interest rates for each one of these transactions. So this is the 10 million revenue bond. So with a par amount of 10,365,000, you have 10 million available in your project fund. This came out to an interest rate cost total of 4.042. This is a term of 20 years. You funded your debt service reserve fund, which is a requirement for any type of revenue bond, with 799,000 with bond proceeds. The total principal and interest on this is 16,416,071, and the average annual debt service payment on this is 820,000. And this carries a 10-year call feature, meaning in 10 years you can refinance this at a lower interest rate for the remaining 10 years on the back end. If you jump over to the next page, this is a summary for the refunding bonds. If you remember, in October, we came and we approved a parameters order that we need to meet at least 3 times coverage, kind of given the interest rate environment that we've seen. As rates get higher, the refunding keeps moving further and further away from the district. So today, we were able to refund 4.29 million. The average coupon on the old bonds, the average rate on the old bonds was a 4.432. The net present value savings was 134,000. The gross savings was 148,000, and the interest rate on the refunding bonds was a 3.321%. As we mentioned, we had to meet a threshold of a minimum of 3% savings on the refunded bonds. We were able to lock in a 3.01. The market had moved away from us for a while. And fortunately, today, we were able to kind of get into that threshold and lock in at least a 3% savings. If you turn over to the next page, this just kind of gives you an illustration of the refunding, what that looks like. The column on the far left are prior debt service, which is your second column on the left. That is your old schedule from your old bonds. The column right next to it on the right is your new schedule. And then you have your savings right next to that. That's where the savings comes from. On the very next page, here we have a timetable. So as I mentioned, today we're here to present the results of the pricing this morning. If the college district wants to move forward with these financings, this is the schedule that we'll be using. So right around the middle where you see February 20th, we're here for consideration and approval from the board. If the board decides to move forward, then we will work with your bond counsel, underwriters council, the attorneys, bond rating agencies, et cetera, the attorney general's office, most importantly, and we will plan to close on Thursday, March the 20th, that last item there. On that day, those funds will be wired into the district's account so you all can begin work on the projects. And with that, and then if you jump over into the appendix 2 pages in the back. This is the rating report from Standard & Poor's. I'm not going to go over all of this. I kind of hit the highlights already, but it's a good read. It's a very detailed analysis with a lot of financial information, metrics, student enrollment, things of that nature on how the rating agencies view the college district. So it's a good read, but I wanted to just include that for the board whenever y'all want to just have a look at that. And that is what I have for the board, but I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have at this time.
We also have Juan Aguilera here with us. He is our bond counsel, and should the board proceed with issuing the bonds, then he has a bunch of documents for us to sign, and anything we need to add,
Yes,
Mr. Aguilera?
So yes, just a little bit of clarification. Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Juan Aguilera, and it's good to be back here again. We serve as the college's bond attorneys. And so we come around whenever the college wants to look into financings for buildings and all kinds of things that have a large ticketed amount to be paid. So we're the last time David and I were here were in 2014. Then we came back in October of last year, and we brought for you at that time a resolution for the refunding bonds, to approve a refunding bonds. And that was approved by the board at that time. So there's only one item on the agenda, and that's for the new money bonds of the 2025A. However, since we always include in language we have in there says, and resolving other matters incident related to the issuance, since both of the sales were done today, then David went ahead and presented to you the payments and the interest rates that are associated with the refunding bonds. So as you know, back in October, you authorized Mr. Gonzalez, his company, our firm, and other folks to go out and see whether they could be able to meet a net present value savings of at least a minimum of 3% and net of expenses. So Mr. Gonzalez, as I know, firm did a very good job. They went out and were able to meet that threshold that was established back in October. And I know I've been in communication with Ms. Ermis, and we had been going back and forth. You know, we didn't know whether the financing refunding was going to happen, but I'm glad to hear that it would happen. So that's already been approved. Once before we met, those have met, and so we will then, the only thing that we have for today is the consideration of the issuance of the 10 million, I don't have the dollar, $10.36 million in new money financings, and these are for projects that we have here in the Uvalde campus and some small improvements in the Eagle Pass campus. If it's the pleasure of the board to move forward with the new money portion of the finances, then a motion to approve the resolution as presented would be in order. I would also add that when you make the motion, that you also say that we incorporate the interest rates and the maturity payments that Mr. Gonzalez has presented. These things run real fast. I know that around 12 o'clock that the college and the underwriters were all getting together trying to sell 14 million almost plus of bonds. We didn't get the final numbers till around 3 o'clock. And so we didn't have a chance. As a matter of fact, there has been an email that's been sent, but when we sent the resolution over to you, we had a bunch of blanks. And as I explained, we did not know anything until noon today as to what those things. So a motion to adopt the resolution as presented, and that we incorporate that you direct bond attorneys to go ahead and incorporate all the interest rates into the resolution, I think would be in order. Any questions?
I don't have any. Yep. Hector, I have a question more for you. So the annual debt service on this $10 million issuance will be about $800,000 a year? And are we in a comfortable position to be able to meet that debt service? Sort of that's a big loan.
So this is a very, very broad 30 view of our finances. So what I have before you here is scenario A, B, C with very, big block numbers. So the first column, additional state appropriations, assuming we get zero. We've been contributing from our budget. We've been budgeting $1.5 million the last 3 years for tech expansion. That wouldn't be there in the future. So I'm adding that back. We also have $1 million contingency in the budget. I added that back. The refinance savings, I just put an average of $16,000 per year. Projected growth in new programs, $500,000. And then I put in big bucket decreases, which would be the annual salary increases, about $650,000, and taking away the decrease in Sul Ross rent, $122,000, and then plugged in the new debt service, the additional debt service, $800,000. Assuming scenario A, we would have an available contingency of $1.4 million. You go to scenario B, which everything's the same, but we plug in half of the estimated growth in state appropriations. We've already been told that state appropriations estimate for us, the next biennium, is going to be $2.2 million. So that's $1.1 million each year of the biennium. So if you look at column C is what it looks like for the next 2 years for us.
Okay.
And that leaves a contingency of $2.4 million incorporating the debt service.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does.
And again, this does not assume any new growth other than the growth from the new tech programs that we've added. So that's a conservative estimate. So after debt service, we'll have $2.4 million to put in our contingency or to fund to other projects.
Dr. Gonzalez, on the estimated annual salary, is that a percentage?
That's
like a
just
4% or?
no. That's I took last year's total salary, this year's total salary. The delta is 625,000, so I just estimated 650. What it changes by doing steps and percent.
Okay.
It doesn't include the bonus, but I didn't take it out. We actually have a contingency of $1.5 million.
Okay.
And we spent $500,000 for the bonus. So that I assume we're going to continue that going forward. So I didn't subtract it out here. So this includes being able to fund a bonus the
And
year.
salary increase, okay.
Any further questions? Do I hear a motion?
I do have a question, and just so I understand it, in terms of the refunding the bonds, so basically, we're getting new bonds at a better interest rate to pay off the existing loans. That's where you materialize the net savings. Okay.
Correct. Just like refinancing a mortgage.
Just refinancing a mortgage, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and under state law, Mr. Munoz, when you refund or what we call refund, but when you do a refinancing, the old debt is considered to be paid off,
Okay.
taken off the books. Now you have some new debt to pay off that old debt, but now at a better interest rate, so you will realize some savings.
So I would just ask Hector or President Gonzalez, it's a large issuance, but do you think it's what we should do, and do you think it's in our interest as an institution to get it done?
If you look at everybody out there, they know how tight I am with money. And so if you just bear with me, look at your,
I'm not adverse to it. I just want to
No.
make sure that it's something that
so
you feel strongly about.
yes, so if you look at in the president's report at your table, you should have this spreadsheet. It's the one that Nita left on your table. Ms. Reed. It was on the folder on your table when we got here. So what I've done here is I've mapped out our major sources of funds. So the first column on the left, that's what I would recommend at this today, how to utilize the bond proceeds. We have deferred maintenance, we have new enhancements, and we have tech program enhancements. And the tech program enhancements that I have highlighted in like a teal color there, I've kind of did that for a reason because Senate Bill 1, which is our state appropriations for the next year, includes an additional $5 million for us for the next 2 years for tech expansion. So it's in the budget now, provided nothing happens between now and June that it gets removed. But if it stays in there, I propose that we move that to the far right column and use the state money, the 5 million from the state money, to do those enhancements there, freeing up money over here to do a law enforcement training center and a workforce training center. And everything that we have here, other than deferred maintenance, so that's a block of it. We're spending $500,000 each year out of our budget to address deferred maintenance. So right off the bat, if we're going to take that bond revenue money and be able to kind of wipe out that deferred maintenance and do this right here. So that's a $500,000 savings. That's not on that sheet. But the other part of that is enhancing the tech programs to create more interest in our programs here, more relevant technology. Part of my president's report includes we were awarded the Kate's Cowboy Promise. That is a partnership with the Kate Marmion Foundation. And what they've done is every high school graduate from Uvalde, Real, Zavala, and Frio County can attend our school at no cost.
Wow.
It's a $4.2 million grant that they gave us to do a test pilot for 5 years with the option to evaluate it and possibly continue it going forward. So that's going to increase enrollment because you can attend at no cost. All you got to do is graduate high school, file for financial aid. If financial aid covers it, great. If it doesn't, they'll pick up the tab.
As I understand it, though, when you do the issuance, you can only spend the funds for what you specifically reference in the ordinance. How is it worded? Do we have flexibility to spend it on basically whatever we
do.
want, or are we real tight?
And I was very specific in the order because part of it was for deferred maintenance items on this campus, some on the Eagle Pass campus, because Eagle Pass is owned by the foundation. We do have a 60-year lease with the college. And then we also listed tech enhancements. So I think the order is broad enough to cover.
Yeah, the resolution, all it says is improvements in construction improvements, equipment of the college campuses.
Okay.
It does not give you, we do not put down a dollar amount for each one of the different projects that you have. I know that I mentioned Eagle Pass because I know in discussion with Ms. Ermis and with Dr. Gonzalez, we need to specify in the resolution because that land over there is owned by the foundation, as you know, the college foundation. So there's a ground lease or a lease that we have, and then we have to do it. We went through the whole thing last time around. But the city, I'm sorry, the college will be receiving some funds on March the 20th in the amount of $10-something million. And then at that time, Dr. Gonzalez and Ms. Ermis will get those funds. As you move on and you proceed, I'm sure that Mr. Gonzalez will be coming to you and saying, okay, now we want to spend 10,000 on this, 500,000 on that, or whatever. As long as it's used for college campus purposes, then you're fine under the law. And we that's the language we generally use for all the issuances, whether we're representing a school district or city or county, or the state of Texas for that matter, that we do. And so we make it very general, but all of those decisions is something that you will make. All you're approving now is to just go ahead and issue the 10 million plus in new money financing.
How are, just out of curiosity, how are we able to invest those funds while until they're used? Because we don't have to necessarily use them immediately, right?
And we won't use them immediately. So what we'll do is more than likely, they'll come into our bank and we'll transfer them to our text pool account, which is a little bit higher interest rate. And we'll maintain a separate account just for the bonds. We've done this in the past with other bond issues. And then as we get projects approved, bid out, and spec'd out, then we can draw down the funds from the text pool account to fund that particular piece. So we'll have it isolated and earning interest.
Is the text pool account, is it better? I mean, I'm assuming it's better than a traditional savings account, or is it like the equivalent of a CD or?
4.5, 5.
Okay, it's good.
It's more than a CD.
And the college, just like any other governmental company, you have to follow the Public Funds and Investment Act.
Right.
And so your hands are pretty much tied to certain types of investments that you can make. And all of that's you have to follow that by law, and it's also in the resolution that you will be doing it, but you're already doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions that I can answer?
Well,
We'll
I'll make
making
a,
money on our
For a little bit.
money for a little while.
I'll make a motion to proceed with the issuance.
Do I hear a second? Motion's been made and seconded to accept the proposal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Dr. Watkins, can I just let the record reflect that we're making the motion as,
You want me to read it?
no, incorporating the interest rates and the debt service as,
As
presented by our financial advisor.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
thank you.
Thank you
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lost my agenda. Next, we have on the agenda is reports from the Law Enforcement Academy first.
April Ruman will,
April Ruman,
Dean April Ruman will
Dean.
kick us started.
Hi, good evening. First of all, thank you all for being here this evening. It's my pleasure to present some information to you regarding the college. So we do have two presentations tonight. We, from the Applied Sciences Division, we'll have the Law Enforcement Academy present, and we'll have the Criminal Justice Program present. Before we hear the program coordinators, I want to share information with you all on the college's efforts to invest in program development in light of the Department of Justice's Critical Incident Review released last year, which housed many valuable resources and best practices regarding safety, security, and trauma. The college has taken those resources and applied them throughout the institution in various capacities. I want to share with you specifically how we are working to support the education of our students and those who are the next generation of first responders. As you will recall, before Christmas, I was able to present the Associate of Applied Science Mental Health Development and proposal that would begin in fall of 2025. Today, the college received state approval to do so. It's very exciting for us. We're very, very happy to bring that program. Tonight, I am happy to present another development. The college has invested in hiring a division chair who is responsible for overseeing public safety and human services. This division chair brings with him a vast amount of credentials, and I'd like to share those with you. He has a Doctor of Management in Homeland Security, a Master of Science in Strategic Leadership, a Bachelor of Arts degree in Management. He has multiple professional certificates which focus on incident command and national response. He is retired from the United States Army. He brings with him over 22 years of experience with the United States Border Patrol, and he served as the Homeland Security and Management Director at Laredo College. He is currently working on a Master of Science in Criminal Justice program with an emphasis in campus event and organizational safety, designed to address the alarming trend of mass violence in our culture through a worldwide view that supports the sanctity of life and a biblical view of human nature. He is also a husband, a father, and it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Mike Bailey and welcome him to the Southwest Texas College family. With that, we can begin the next program. Emmanuel Zamora is our interim Law Enforcement Academy coordinator, and he is here to present the Law Enforcement Academy.
Good evening, Dr. Gonzalez, Dr. Watkins, and board. It's my honor this evening to present the law enforcement program. And we have a academy here in Uvalde and Eagle Pass. Academy staff present this evening. We have full-time staff, Mr. Beco Diaz, which is our day instructor in Uvalde, Mr. Cervantes, our night instructor in Uvalde, and not present today is Chief Amy Gonzalez, the Eagle Pass night instructor. And the backbone of our academy, our office manager, Ms. Terry Samarripa. You see a very special person up there in the top, Dean April Ruman, right? She's been our immediate supervisor for the past several years. So the basic peace officer program, we're going a little bit in history here. That's some of the photos that we could find. It's been attached as a regional training provider here in Southwest Texas College since 1978. You see pictures there also from a class of 1980, which I'm proud to announce that one of those graduates is here with us tonight. If Lieutenant Fred Radliff will stand and be recognized. Thank you for your service, sir. He is on that larger picture of class of 1980, been serving the Uvalde in our region for over 40 years. Another picture of a graduating class of 1980 in front of the Miller Building here at Southwest Texas College. So back then in those historical pictures, the basic peace officer course consisted of 240 hours, which equals about 6 weeks or 30 days. Now, the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement basic peace officer course is 736 hours, and it goes about 4.5 to 5 months. Now, the Southwest Texas basic peace officer course consists of 760 hours due to some extra certifications that we provide to our cadets. The examples of those certifications are the ASBATON, TASER certification, and the pepper spray certification. Those are more less lethal options for our cadets, and they become more marketable for the job force. I'm going to go over some current stats of our classes. In our Uvalde full-time day class, which they come from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily, we have 33 cadets. In our Eagle Pass night class, which they meet from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. daily, we have 31 cadets. In our Uvalde night class, we have 9 cadets. So we are looking forward to graduating 73 cadets on May 20th, 2025 this year. Also there in number 4, you'll see the Uvalde full-time 2024 class with a 100% pass rate. We're proud to announce that. This is our last graduating class in December of 2024, and they did have a 100% pass rate, and it was 26 graduates. This is a picture that the cadets look forward to seeing every year. This is a picture we post on social media when they're getting very close to graduation. So that's the graduating classes of 2024. So as you see here today, this evening, we have several cadets sitting in the back row. If y'all can please stand. Thank you for joining us and staying late after class today. This is our day class, full-time class. So they're in class from 8 to 5. And we respect your dedication to the program and thank you for being here today. Y'all may take a seat. As we see that we're going to have 73 graduates here in May, where do they end up at? So most of them, about 95% of our graduates end up in our Middle Rio Grande service area, which is the county surrounding Uvalde. But we do have some that end up all over the state of Texas, and some of those cities are named there. We have a graduate that works for the Port of Galveston, and sees the cruise ships leave on a daily basis. So they go all over the state of Texas after graduation of our basic peace officer program. Success stories. We love sharing the success stories. Most of those are graduates, very recent graduates from 2024, getting pinned by area chiefs and sheriffs, and some by their family members at different graduation ceremonies. Those graduates end up being our primary recruitment source. Them spreading the word of, I attended this program, I was successful, and now it's your turn to go. So social media and the word of mouth of our graduates is our number one recruiting, how we get more students. Our SPR, Strategic Plan Initiative, is enhancing the student's sense of connection to Southwest Texas life. So because we have a very rigorous, very tight schedule of 8 to 5, very organized, our cadets had minimal opportunity to participate in campus life and campus activity. So that's why it became one of our initiatives, is to allow them and work with the schedule for them to participate in more campus life events. So we are working on that initiative. They're now engaging with all the career fairs, every event possible throughout the college. And we also engage with other technical programs at the college. You see there, some of the cadets are getting blood drawn by the patient care technician program, and some of the cadets are getting haircuts. Some are volunteer and some are voluntold. But we are helping other programs, and those programs come to us and they help us. So we're one big family. As we promote campus engagement, we also promote community engagement. Our law enforcement cadets are well known around the community. They help in every event possible. You see every parade there. They recently helped with Uvalde Police Department community event, Dia de los Niños, National Night Out. And bottom left picture is our Eagle Pass class. So not just in Uvalde, in all our service area, we are very engaged with our community. Wanted to introduce a couple of people that are here tonight just to alumni. I'll start with our advisory board. If you're part of our advisory board, can you please stand and thank you for being here tonight? J.J. Vera, Ms. Dolly, Ms. Ruth Ceniceros, Lieutenant Zapata in the back from Eagle Pass PD. Thank you so much. Our advisory board was just here in support of the law enforcement program. They came from all different areas of our region. Our cadets, our instructors, and one last thing, we do have a patch here. And in the law enforcement profession, the gifting of a patch or the giving of a patch to a person is a token of appreciation and support for that program. So cadets, can y'all please present this gift? So board members, we're going to gift you with a patch this evening, and thank you for the continued support of the law enforcement program.
Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. That's nice.
At this moment, we'll entertain any questions from the board or the audience.
I think you guys are doing a great job with these kids.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno.
Are all your cadets almost immediately hired after they graduate?
The goal is for them to get a job before graduation, sir, which it's been amazing. A lot of them are graduating in full uniform. So that is the goal, but not all of them. So we have numerous recruiters come into the academy throughout their semester, and the recruitment includes from bonuses, hiring bonuses, and some of them already have a plan to go back to their own communities. Like we see some in full uniform here today, Mr. Christian Garcia, Mr. Ethan Aguilar, which are working for the Uvalde Police Department. They just graduated here last 2024. So from sitting in a chair in that other black uniform to being in a full Uvalde Police uniform, that's what we call a great success story.
Awesome.
So remind me again how long it takes them to complete their certification?
Yes, ma'am. Through TICO, they go by hours. So it's 736 physical hours they got to be in the classroom. 736. We put that in one school semester, but we start before everybody and we stay a little bit behind after a normal academic semester. But we're finishing in about 4.5 months.
You graduate in 2 classes, is that right?
We have 3 classes going on at this moment, sir. We have 2 part-time classes and 1 full-time. The full-time is 1 school semester, and the part-time is two school semesters. They start in August and graduate in May. Regular academic
1 year.
Yes, sir. So here in this August, we'll be starting 3 more classes.
Good.
The three classes are all in Uvalde, or they're Eagle Pass, Del Rio, and Uvalde?
Right now, sir, we have 2 classes in Uvalde and 1 night class in Eagle Pass. And yes, we are doing research and talking to Dean Ruman about expanding.
So we have nothing in Del Rio at this point?
Not connected to Southwest Texas College, no, sir. We are to Southwest College. The reason is because Del Rio PD has their own academy in Del Rio, so it hasn't been a demand. But every semester we have several cadets that drive
Del
daily
Rio,
and attend
yeah.
our academy. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Yeah,
We feel well protected.
thank you, sir.
Next on the agenda, we have a criminal justice report.
Riddell Gear will make that presentation.
Good evening, members of the board, President Gonzalez. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening, and I think it's a nice contrast between our program and the Law Enforcement Academy. You can see that they're more hands-on, engaged in teaching students how to use pepper spray and doing things of that nature, tactics, whereas we're just the academic side. Not to diminish our side, but currently we have 3 faculty members. We have 2 full-time faculty members, myself, Dale Gear. Mr. Suarez is here, there in the back, trying to hide. And then we also have an adjunct, Norma Barbosa, at the Uvalde High School. And each of us comes from pretty diverse backgrounds. My background is as an attorney and a director of a probation department. Mr. Suarez is law enforcement, and Ms. Barbosa is corrections. Unlike the other technical programs, we have a number of degree choices. And we have an Associate of Arts program, which is called the Field of Study. It has 15 hours of criminal justice courses and 45 hours of core. Then we have an Associate of Applied Sciences program, which it flips, and we have 45 hours of criminal justice courses and 15 hours of core-related courses. And then the third option is what we call the Basic Peace Officer option, which we try to coordinate with the academy. And in that program, the last semester, the students are enrolled in the Law Enforcement Academy and are able to graduate with a degree and a Texas Peace Officer's license if they successfully complete that law enforcement program. And we have the Field of Study of the Associate of Arts. Typically in that program, students are going on to a 4-year college. And so they basically are required to complete an introductory criminal justice course, criminal law, and then 3 other courses covering the 3 components of the criminal justice system, police, courts, and corrections. And in the Associate of Applied Sciences program, students are required to complete those same 5 courses that the Field of Study does, but in addition to that, they've got an additional 30 hours of criminal justice courses that they have to complete, and those would include criminology, juvenile justice, criminal investigation, criminal constitutional law, cyber crimes, death investigation, use of force, and ethics. They also have to complete a 128-hour internship program, which is very, very beneficial to the students because it ties everything together. Last time I taught it, last year, students had a pretty diverse number of internships. One student in particular worked for the county attorney from Carrizo, and she got some really wonderful and instructive experience there. Another worked for a justice of the peace near Eagle Pass and really learned a lot and really learned how everything tied together. Basic Peace Officers option, I mentioned before that it gives these students the option to, in their either last semester or their last year, depending on whether they're in the day or evening program in the Law Enforcement Academy, to get their degree and their Texas Peace Officers license. And that's really important because it helps their promotability once they get out there working, and also they're going to make more money. Now, if you look at the chart there, you can see our enrollment over a 5-year period, and the numbers are kind of small, but you can see that the trend is up. Okay, we've got 193 students currently enrolled. 154 of those are in the field of study, and the remainder are in the AAS program. This past December, we had 20 students graduate. We had 45 graduate last May, and we're hoping that the number will increase to over 50 with this coming May's graduates. As part of our strategic plan initiative, we're focusing on our criminal law class because that's a real foundational course that really presents the foundation for the remainder of the courses they'll take here at the college and in their career in law enforcement. And so we've found that students that successfully complete that course and do well in that course tend to do well in the program and tend to complete. And so we're trying to contact students that miss assignments on a weekly basis. And also we're using a video component. These videos are from YouTube or other sources. And in the past, the issue I've had was students tend to passively look at those videos, and they don't really get into the video actively. So now with this Edpuzzle software, they have to answer questions throughout the video, and they have to watch the whole video to get a credit for that video quiz. And so that's been really beneficial, and we had much success in the first semester in the fall, and we're looking to more success in the spring. As far as employment goes, the Texas Workforce Commission is estimating that there will be an 8.31% increase in the workforce for police and deputies over the period from 2022 to 2032. That's really kind of flat. It's an increase, but it's flat. And so fortunately, as far as employment goes, the Border Patrol and Texas DPS, with the situation at the border, their employment needs will certainly increase over the years. And so a lot of our students are in fact going into Border Patrol. When I started 11 years ago here at the college, most students were focused on becoming police officers, deputies. There's nothing wrong with that, but now the focus seems to have changed. More and more students want to become Border Patrol agents. More students want to become DPS state troopers. They certainly pay more than a police officer or deputy. And the other thing that I've noticed is that more students want to get their 4-year degree. They're not coming just to become police officers anymore. They want to get that bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Many of them want to get their master's degree. Some even want to teach. And the other trend that I've noticed is that there's quite a number of students majoring in criminal justice that want to become lawyers. Okay, and I notice that even when I'm out recruiting, but I've also noticed it in my discussions with my students. And I think that bodes well for the college, for the college's reputation, and for the criminal justice program. And I want to thank you all for the opportunity to come here today, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that y'all might have.
I have a question. On the students that want to pursue a criminal justice 4-year degree, what universities are they mostly transferring to?
It's pretty diverse. UTSA, Sam Houston State, San Angelo State, A&M, UT.
Do we have any numbers statistically on where some of these kids are going to?
I don't have any numbers on that. I'm not sure if we always know where they're transferring to.
We do. We'll get that.
Yeah, we can get that. The top five, I can tell you the top five for all of our students, UTSA, Texas State, Angelo, I thought I could tell you the top five. Sol Ross and
International?
maybe international, I think, moved into the top five. We could get you though, the specific.
I'm just curious on this particular group.
That data is, it runs 18 months to 2 years behind. So it's kind of hard to give you very up-to-date numbers, but because it comes out of the National Student Clearinghouse. But we could get that for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Y'all don't have to leave. We're going to have supper after a while. Homework. Good. Study hard. Next on our agenda, we have professional development report.
Yes, sir. And we have Dr. Zimmerman to present that to us.
Good evening, Board President Dr. Watkins, College President Dr. Gonzalez, and board members. I am Dr. Renee Zimmerman. I'm the Director of Professional Development, and I am joined tonight by Thelma Herrera, if you'll please stand. Thank you. She is the Administrative Assistant for both Professional Development and the Office of Dual Credit. Today, we are excited to present the initiatives of the Office of Professional Development and illustrate how our work advances faculty excellence and student-centered learning at Southwest Texas College. Our presentation today will cover 3 key points. Why does faculty development matter? Who do we support and how? And what impact are we making? And where do we go from here? Before proceeding, I would like to note that the images in this presentation were taken during the 2025 Spring Faculty Convocation, which was held in January. These images feature current faculty participating in various sessions throughout this multi-day event. At the heart of our work is our mission statement, which is aligned with the mission of the college. The Office of Professional Development serves as a resource for faculty to advance student-centered learning. Our goal is to support faculty as they grow their professional practices, embrace innovation, and pursue continuous improvement to deliver excellence in teaching and learning. In the same manner as our mission statement, our work is closely aligned with the current strategic plan, particularly Objective 3.4, which focuses on fostering innovation and sustaining strategic development. Our primary objective is to integrate syllabus management and student course evaluations into a unified system. Currently, these 2 processes are manually performed by faculty. Our integration efforts aim to reduce faculty workload, increase operational efficiency, and enhance data accuracy. Furthermore, completing our objective lays the groundwork for future expansion and supports long-term innovation and growth. Now let's discuss who we support and how. Our office serves two primary faculty groups. The first group is comprised of the approximately 100 faculty members who are employed by the college in a full-time status. The second group, there are approximately 140 adjunct faculty members, with about 120 of those serving as our dual credit partners and employed by our partner school districts. One of our responsibilities is to identify faculty development needs and provide professional development opportunities to the broader faculty body through workshops, webinars, and group trainings. While we do not necessarily offer individualized faculty training, we actively assist in identifying and facilitating external trainings and resources that may benefit an individual and these faculty members and their specific needs. Some examples of group professional development are fall and spring convocation, which are multi-day events, and the fall adjunct training day, in which we bring together all ISD faculty and provide training in a day before their ISDs actually begin their normal school year. Some examples of individualized training, professional development include supporting faculty who are new and those who may need additional assistance. In these cases, specific needs are identified, and then we provide appropriate training. Our professional development initiatives are built around essential faculty competencies, which serve as the foundation for our offerings. These competencies include student-centered teaching and learning, technology and system operations, as well as learning assessment and alignment. Through workshops, webinars, and collaborative efforts, we address instructional challenges and provide faculty with resources to address their needs and the needs of the college. Notable partnerships with organizations like NISOD, the National Institute for Staff and Organizational Development, ACU, the Association of College and University Educators, Starlink, Quality Matters, Magna Publications, and iDesign further strengthen our offerings and ensure our faculty stay at the forefront of curriculum delivery and innovation. While we also collaborate with various departments to deliver specialized training, in doing so, we ensure faculty have the resources they need to succeed. What impacts are we making, and where do we go from here? Our research-based professional development offerings focus on both technical and professional skills. Technical skills are discipline-specific. That is knowledge and technical competencies that are required for effective teaching and administrative tasks. A discipline-specific skill may be something like the anatomage tables trainings, while smartboard trainings teach technical skills. Professional skills are broader interpersonal and organizational abilities that support collaboration, communication, and adaptability. Some examples are classroom management techniques and trauma-informed care. Faculty engagement remains strong with participation across convocation events, online platforms, and direct course support. Our partnership with iDesign has led to extensive course redesign efforts, which improves the student experience. Through grant initiatives, we are linking faculty development to measurable student outcomes, including improved retention, completion, and academic performance. Innovative practices, such as using advanced technology in teaching, continue to emerge as a direct result of our contributions. As with any endeavor, we face both challenges and opportunities. One challenge is meeting the diverse needs of our faculty, particularly in reaching adjunct and dual credit faculty located in rural areas. However, this challenge also presents opportunities. Our ability to expand our hybrid and online offerings and scale successful pilot programs across the institution. Looking ahead, our focus includes automating faculty processes to streamline their workload and developing AI-driven resources to enhance instructional efficiency. In closing, we extend our sincere appreciation for your ongoing support of the Office of Professional Development. Our work is a testament to the collaborative spirit here at Southwest Texas College and the shared commitment to faculty excellence and student success. We invite you to engage further and perhaps attend a convocation event. We have the next one coming up in August. And at this time, I would welcome any questions or comments.
A couple of questions. One is, how long has this department been in existence, and how long have you been there, and where's your physical location on campus?
So it has been in existence, Jilco, I believe, began. I'm not positive about the year, but it's been several.
2004, 5.
Okay.
It was after our accreditation visit.
About 20 years?
Yeah.
I have been with the office as the director in March of 2022. And my offices are located upstairs in the administration building.
Okay.
You're welcome to visit anytime.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we have the president's report.
Yes, sir. Item number.
Prior to his beginning, I would like to congratulate him on being selected by the Chamber of Commerce this past month as the Guardian of the Year.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Watkins. Item number 6 in your board packet is the president's report. We're still working with the architect on tech expansion, trying to nail down the building specifications and the bid packets. So that's ongoing. There's probably weekly meetings going on between faculty and Mr. Sandoval and trying to get those ironed out. Under leases, we have finalized a lease with Rio Grande Aviation on the Del Rio Airport, and this would facilitate our expansion for, we currently have aviation airframe. This would allow us to go into power plant as well. It's a 12,000 square foot lease. The city of Del Rio has already approved it. Also, you see there on the second item, we continue to struggle with the city of Uvalde. Even though the council approved a 10-year lease, we're still unable to get a resolution with staff. The last version of the lease, in effect, is a month-to-month lease and not a 10-year lease. So we continue to work to resolve the language in the lease for the Uvalde hangar. Legislative, the legislature has been in session. They opened up January 14th. We've been busy going to Austin, met with all of our reps, Representative Don McLaughlin, Wes Verdell, Eddie Morales, Ryan Guillen, and 3 senators that that represent our service area, Senator Gutierrez, Senator Flores, and Senator Safarini. Early February, I want to say February the 3rd, was Community College Day. We took a group of students and introduced our representatives to our students. Was back there on the 13th for Uvalde County Day, and again represented the college and reinforced our priorities, and specifically the $5 million that are included in HB1 and SB1. They are in the budget, so that's a good sign. The last session, they didn't get added until the reconciliation, which is the final hours of the budget consideration. This time we were in it from the beginning, so that's a positive sign. Nothing's for sure until we get to the end, but we're in a good place. Bond funding, you heard the presentation there. I won't belabor that. You heard me mention about Kate's Cowboy Promise. Thanks and due to the Kate Marmion Charitable Foundation, which provided us a $4.2 million gift. And the promise is that any high school graduate from Uvalde, Uvalde, Rio counties can attend Southwest Texas College at no cost. And I've given you a little summary of eligibility, the covered costs, and the courses there that you can review. We're very excited about that. It's going to be a huge benefit to students. Consuming the bulk of our time at administrative level, division chair level, has been our SAC COC compliance report. It's due March the 1st, but our deadline to send it in is February 28th, that Friday. We're almost there. A couple of items that we're trying to nail down and strengthen a little bit, but we will have it done, and we'll have it submitted. And I told our SACS VP when we met her at the SACS conference in December, I said, I've challenged our team that I want no recommendations, so that's what we're shooting for. No recommendations in October, so it's a two-step process, so we'll submit it at the end of February, probably late May, early June. We'll get a response, the initial response from the off-site committee, give us a chance to address some issues, and then they'll be on-site about the third week in October. And that's the one that we got to clear it out completely. I also want to mention on Tuesday, we received $449,000 more in state appropriations, and that was due to we outperformed the estimate in appropriations for last year. So that's that extra money that I didn't even include that in the chart I talked about when we were considering the bonds. But that's a testament to the production of degrees, graduates, 15 credit completions, transfers. It really is a team effort. We have a great team, and it's almost $500,000 more than what we were promised from the state. So that's a big plus for the institution.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice.
We're working with Soul Systems. This is a solar farm that's coming in on the east side of town, kind of across from Helena Chemical on the south side of Highway 90. We're working with them. They're wanting to invest in our college programs. So we have a lot of things that are lining up for our institution. Let me get some wood here. Don't want to jinx it, but we're a lot of things are coming together for our institution. The Kate Marmion is an awesome, $4.2 million commitment to our students. Soul Systems wants to invest in our institution. We have this influx of state money because we're performing and our students are getting certificates. It's fun to work. When everything starts clicking. It's been a a long time, just positioning us and planning, and it's finally, we're seeing the fruits of our labor, and I look forward to, continued good news as we continue to move forward. And that's kind of my report. You have there the upcoming meetings. You can entertain any questions. I had attached the S&P report, but Mr. Gonzalez provided that for you. And I talked about kind of the strategic focus of the bond revenue and the state appropriations there. I think that's all that was in the packet there. I'll be glad to answer any questions that y'all may have.
Congratulations. And the Kate Marmion thing is for like 5 years?
5
Do you
years.
have plans to go on beyond that?
They're-
Or is that just
They're open. This is a kind of a test run and see how many students utilize it, they complete. So we'll be providing them with data as far as how many students from what counties and their success. And speaking with our team, we're gonna, create a cohort of these students and, provide additional services, support along the way to make sure that they complete. This is a great opportunity. We want to be as helpful as we can to those students so that they will complete the programs timely, and hopefully with providing solid evidence to the foundation that they may be willing to extend the program for perhaps an additional 5 years, perhaps expanding to different counties as well.
You're gonna take any more staff on our
No.
part at this point? We're
Nope.
doing it with the staff that we have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what I was gonna ask. So you'll give the information to all the schools?
Right. So I've
in
reached
each county?
out to some of the superintendents already. Our team is developing, so it's a lot easier to say, yes, we'll do it than to actually
Implement.
implement it. So our team has been working on all the logistics to make sure that we can run the program, select the students, qualify the students, process the payments. Our team is working on that. We have another team that's working on the outreach. So there's a presentation that is almost complete, and they're fixing to go take that to the area schools and educate the school, educate the students, educate the parents on the opportunity and what they need to do. In essence, the application is simple. They have to graduate high school and they have to fill out their financial aid. Those are, in essence, the two criteria. They don't have to be awarded financial aid. They don't have to be eligible for financial aid, but they have to submit and make an attempt.
Yeah.
So if they get awarded financial aid and they have a balance left over, they'll pick up the balance. If they file for financial aid and they don't qualify, the scholarship will pick up the entire balance. So it's a last dollar in scholarship. So whatever's left outstanding, they'll pick it up so the student does not have any out-of-pocket expenses. And it covers $300 of book vouchers every semester. It's renewable for the second year, provided that they complete 30 credits and maintain satisfactory progress. So it's good for 3 years when they start or until they complete the program. It's good for academics, it's good for technical. So it really is a great opportunity for our students.
Are you going to have to hire anybody additional to kind of manage it?
No, sir.
Okay.
We're using our existing high school partnership dual credit team to get the word out to the high schools. We're using our accounting department to administer our student services, to guide the students, make sure they're in the right program. So we'll be able to handle everything internally with what we have.
Dr. Gonzalez, what projections do you have on student enrollment? Are we looking at like
200
students per semester or any projections?
We estimated about 200 students per semester, per year. So the way you got to look at it is about 80% of our non-dual credit students, these are students that are attending college after graduating high school. About 80% of that population qualifies for financial aid. So financial aid is taking the lion's share and covering those balances. And this scholarship is going to take those that don't qualify for everything or don't qualify at all. So that's why that number is not, 1,500 students, because financial aid, covers $13 million a year of student balance
Already.
Hmm.
So this is just the second half of it. And we're estimating about 400,000 a semester that the scholarship would cover.
And Alamo Community College has a similar program?
They do. So the foundation, the Cape Marmion Foundation, modeled it after the Alamo Promise
We
scholarship.
didn't have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, right?
Right. No. So a lot of the same, the 30-hour completion, the GPA, a lot of that came from the Alamo Promise. So the Cape Marmion Foundation gave us an agreement, and we went back and forth, and we finally got all the points satisfied to both our institutions, and that kind of sets out the parameters for the scholarship. Alamo's is different in the sense that the bulk of their funding comes from taxes. They have such a robust tax base. I'll share with you this. I spoke with Chancellor Flores. They're going out for a $980 million bond, almost $1 billion,
Wow.
with zero tax increase. Yeah, that's how robust the tax valuations are right now.
Yeah.
But we don't have that luxury.
Victor, speaking of the fact that a large portion of our students get financial aid and presumably grants, probably that come from the federal government, is there any concern that some of the changes that are happening in Washington could adversely affect recipients of grants or funding if the Department of Education is
Right. So
downsized?
very valid question. So early, was it mid-February, when we got the notice that all grants were frozen, that we weren't going to be able to draw down, the first call I did was to Congressman Gonzalez, and I said, hey, this is not good for our school. It's not good for our region. He's a very adamant supporter of our TRIO programs, but he did share with me that the Pell Grants were never part of that mix. Not to say that they won't be in the future, but if the Department of Ed does get collapsed, the thinking is that the Pell program would be transferred either to the Department of Labor or Department of Commerce. So the program itself wouldn't go away, it's just who's administering it. That's what I've heard, and that's what he shared with me as well, is it's not gonna go. It's a hope. So we stopped in the interim, we stopped any major purchases through grants. We stopped any new hirings through grants as a precaution. Of course, the courts intervened and they put a stay on that, so none of that has occurred. But we're very, very conscious as soon as there's expenditures on the grants. The biggest one is payroll. So we have grants that fund people. Today was payroll, so today Lisa can go into the system, draw down those funds, so we have enough to cover the payroll and any kind of other expenditures. So we're monitoring it. Obviously, it's not the warm, fuzzy feeling that you would like, but we are where we are.
Yeah, I guess all we can do is let our representative know how important it is.
Yeah, I think once enough systems get messed up, we'll have a significant amount of Republican, either representatives, senators say, hey, what are we doing here? We haven't hit that threshold yet, but I'm hoping that if it does get that bad, because all politics are local, and just like I reached out to Congressman Gonzalez, if we have more issues, then there'll be more phone calls, and it'd be from others, and there's a point where actions in Washington impact them locally, and there's a threshold there, and I think there's going to be a point where it's like, okay, that's too far. I don't know where that point is, but I don't think it can continue without a pump the brakes. My opinion.
Go back to the when they register for financial aid and you said 30 hours, do they have to maintain 30 hours? of
No.
registered
So,
success?
so here's the 30 hours. In order to get funded
With the,
second year, they have to complete 30 hours within the first year. So,
okay,
and that's the fall, the spring, and the summer. So they could take 15 and 15 and have eligibility, or they can take 12, 12, and then take the summer school, take 6 hours, and they'll have the eligibility
what
there.
about the dual credit?
This is not dual credit because they have to graduate from high school.
Oh,
These are for high school graduates.
okay,
The dual credit right now is pretty much free to them because of the FAST scholarship. So they're, the, 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 the legislature took care of dual credit last session. So, 90% of our students don't have to pay for dual credit because if they have been on free and reduced lunch in any of their previous 4 years, they're eligible for free dual credit. And that's in place right now. Okay.
Well, thank you. That's very informative. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Next on our agenda is to consider an act on a quality enhancement plan.
Dr. Underwood is going to present that to us.
Good evening, Dr.
are we?
I'm sorry. Oh, Dr. Watkins, members of the board, and Dr. Gonzalez, thanks for letting me present a little bit to you, a little context for this is item number 7. Excuse me. And after that, even though that discussion of all the finances and stuff was riveting, I think it's time to move on to something really to talk about, which is accreditation, right? So, yes. So you do have a handout in your packet there. That's the QEP information packet. I'll go through on the PowerPoint. So the principles of accreditation is actually the name of the document that has all of the standards by which any institution is examined and evaluated for reaffirmation or for initial affirmation for that matter. So Dr. Gonzalez alluded to the long process we've been going through. It's really been, I guess, a year and a month. We've been writing what's called the compliance certification, which is what we used to call the self-study in the old days, in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s. It's called a self-study. Same thing, just a different name. And it just requires an institution to examine itself on virtually every aspect of the operation you can think of. Construction, finances, library, everything else. The thing I'm going to pivot to a little bit is a part of that overall element. Let's see. I was here this afternoon. I've already forgotten which way to go. That's not it. There it is. Okay. So standard 7.2 is called the quality enhancement plan, and we call it, everybody says QEP because you get tired of saying quality enhancement plan over and over again. It is a requirement of the reaffirmation process. It must, we'll get to some of the criteria here in just a second. The basic purpose of the QEP is to seek something specific at the institution that can be worked on and improved upon, hopefully, for the improvement of student learning and student learning outcomes and or student success. I have the and or there because when this aspect of reaffirmation started back in the late 90s into the early 2000s, the student success part of that definition did not exist. All of the quality enhancement plans had to be focused on student learning outcomes, but they've broadened that mercifully to success outcomes like completions and other kinds of things. Every QEP has to, from any institution, 2-year, 4-year, whatever size, has to have these 5 elements. And I'll not read those to you because they're in front of you. We are going to, what you're actually going to be asked to vote upon is actually A in that list there before you, which is the topic that through a set of, well, over a year and a half worth of of input from faculty and staff and students and community members, we've come to a recommended topic or focus for our proposed QEP. And that's what we're actually going to ask the board to affirm and to approve.
Who mandates this quality enhancement plan? Is it a accrediting agency or is it the state? Or?
Yes, sir. So we are accredited, our regional accreditor is the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, Commission on Colleges. And they, and we are they, it's a voluntary membership in the institution. And so the membership itself voted back in the late 90s to add this aspect to the reaffirmation process. So it is the accrediting commission that requires this. Yes, sir. The intent of the QEP must be that it is designed with the intent to have, pardon me, institutional impact, and of course, positive institutional impact, one hopes, right? And we must have, and this is typically the most difficult part of the QEP, the actual writing of the plan itself is the assessment plan. And it must include formative, that means as we go, assessments and evaluations. And then at the end, it's basically a 5-year plan. There must be a summative evaluation aspect of the document of the plan itself. And we can use, and we're encouraged to use, both qualitative and quantitative. There must be some quantitative. It can be entirely quantitative if the institution wants, but there must be some quantitative aspect to the assessment, but most schools will do.
Do we have to do this every year?
Every 10 years.
Every 10 years,
Yes.
okay.
So the reaffirmation cycle is a 10-year process. So we were last reaffirmed in 2016. And so as Dr. Gonzalez mentioned, the on-site committee, our peers will be here in October. And then assuming we will be reaffirmed, and we'll be reaffirmed, that will occur in June of 2026. So we're at that 10-year anniversary of looking at ourselves again.
Mark, if I could just interject, the accrediting process is important for several reasons, but the main financial carrot or stick for institutions is in order to satisfy the Department of Ed and specifically Pell, to award Pell, you have to be accredited by one of the 6 regional accrediting bodies. Ours is the Southern Association, Colleges and Schools. And that is the main reason that we all subject ourselves to this painful process of 10-year accreditation. There's a 5-year review that was implemented 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where there's an interim report that we have to do. It's a little bit more abbreviated, although not much. But that's the main reason that we have to do the accrediting process, is so that we can award Pell to our students. If you don't have that, you're not allowed to award Pell. So that's kind of the main incentive, other than, the other benefits of, doing the best that you can at running a college.
It also has effects on transferability for some students. Some institutions will not accept student hours from a non-accredited school, so it's important.
What does the report contain? I mean, what's kind of specifically, what is it? It's kind of ambiguous. Well, I'm just saying, some of this stuff is very ambiguous, and I mean, I guess specifically, what are you looking at data from the last 10 years and trying to figure out what to do better? I mean, what is the?
We're doing, I'll answer that sort of in a couple ways, and please jump in. So the short answer is yes. The little bit more sophisticated answer is we are really only responsible, if that's a nice word for it, for demonstrating basically a 3-year look back in our reporting. And so let's just say, for example, student outcomes in, the graduation, how many students have we graduated over the last 10 years? If we have all 10 years of those data, and we do, of course, we can present it all. So one of the fundamental principles of that look back is to show consistency, and to show consistency of effort in trying to improve areas or aspects of a program or the institution that we've identified over over those years. Yes.
So you look back and then you try to provide, I guess, a plan to make things better. And then who ultimately, does anybody actually look at this and say, well, I don't think this is any good or
Mhm.
okay.
So in the there's actually two answers to that too. So
All right, I'm just curious.
Great questions.
yeah,
Great questions.
very, very much so. Thank you. So we have an internal deadline, which you'll see in a second, of June 1 for us to write this. For us, I'm not writing this one. Y'all are going to have to write this plan, and it is submitted it's submitted to our committee about 6 weeks before they get here. And on that committee is an individual that we actually have the opportunity to recommend to the commission if there's someone we know of that's a particularly good evaluator. Not that somebody just going to give us a good report. That's not it at all. But someone who's an expert, let's just say, and we're going to propose student engagement as the focus of our QEP. That person comes as the principal evaluator of the document that we submit. And during the 3.5 days that they're here, that person will spend a lot of time talking to us, folks that wrote the thing, but also more importantly, the people who we say are going to be in the actual plan, the actual doing of the interventions that we contend are going to improve, in this case, student involvement, student engagement. And that person will evaluate our extra input from what we say we're going to do and so forth and so on. The plan will have a very detailed outline of what we intend to do, who's going to do it, how much we think it's going to cost, how long this intervention is going to last. So we have to have it approved by that visiting committee in October. Then Dr. Gonzalez mentioned the fifth year, it's called the fifth year interim report. The accrediting agencies have to send a report into the Department of Education. Well, maybe not next time, but anyway, at the moment, that's a requirement. And so institutions, again, starting about 15 years ago, have to do a fifth year interim report. And in that report, we have to provide what's called the Quality Impact Plan Impact Report, the QEP Impact Report. We say, through our assessments, here's what we are saying, here's what we know that implementing the QEP has done for us or to us and for our students. And so that QEP impact report, part of the fifth year report, is assessed by a peer committee at the December meeting. In our case, it'd be, in 2030. So the QEP then is evaluated by another expert and the committee that person is on. So it's evaluated up front and said to be solid and sound by the person who comes in that committee in October. Then after its implementation in our report, another group, entirely different group, by the way, will assess the impact of it. And those are the two ways it's deemed to be impactful or good. Yes.
The last two questions, I promise. It's based on the way you guys have been talking about it, that this is a painful process. What makes it so difficult?
Just the sheer volume of the number of things we have to investigate and respond to. So I don't know. I know each item in the report, we have a program where we're writing it in. Each of them has a word count. Is there a total word count page somewhere? I wonder.
Yes, there is.
It's going to be 120,000 words, I'm going to say.
Okay.
And right now there are 1,400 and something pieces of evidence
Oh,
in a
gosh.
repository that we use to prove or to show that we have what we say that we do.
And then the second question is, and maybe the more important one is, do the evaluators actually, I mean, do they actually look at it? Are they critical, or is it just sort of like, okay, you check the boxes, you're good?
In detail. And so the peer review process, so it's, the way that works is it's people like us. It's administrators, it's faculty members, from presidents, from other institutions. The main criteria is you can't be from the state that your institution is in. So our peers are going to be Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia, that area. And we've all, not all of us, but some of us have served on teams, and you're assigned a certain criteria. And I just pulled it up here. So there's a whole section on governing board. And so one of the questions, this is just one, it says the institution has a governing board of at least 5 members that A, is the legal body with specific authority over the institution, B, exercises fiduciary oversight of the institution, C, ensures that both the presiding officer of the board and a majority of the other voting members of the board are free of contractual, employment, personal, familial, financial interest in the institution, D, is not controlled by a minority of the board or by organizations or institutions separate from it, and E, is not presided over by the chief executive officer of the institution. So that one standard has those 5 areas, and then for each of those, we have to provide, yes, we're in compliance, and here's why. The statute, the governing statute in Texas says this,
X, okay.
and then our board policy says this. Here's a snapshot of our webpage that lists our board members. Here's evidence of when their election took place. This is where their term ends. This was their election to office.
So who's spearheading this?
Dr. Mark is in head, and different administrators and faculty members and deans have different sections. Like I responded to all the board stuff. There's 1, 2.
So it's not, in other words, it's a collaborative effort amongst the entire institution.
Oh,
That's a
across the entire
conflict of
Okay.
interest that you have to
Yes.
send out.
So one of the things that we were talking about, I know we're getting off here, but it's related, is right now we're having our division chairs and deans go through and look at, kind of a fresh set of eyes, if they haven't worked on one, to read what I wrote, what Mark wrote, what April wrote, what Derek wrote, whoever. But in reading that, you get a better understanding of why we do things the way we do. And when we were talking about that, I think it would be a good value if we give you all, once we submit it, we give you a flash drive with our accreditation report that you can go in and see, okay, this is what the question was, this is how they responded, this is the evidence. And you can kind of start connecting the dots on why we do things that we do, why things are brought to the board, why we do some things as an institution. It'll help fill in that gap. And if you know everything that's in the accreditation report, then you're good to go for community colleges.
And when you convey the degrees,
So, no, but 2004, that's why I know when PD started, because that accreditation report was horrible for our institution. We had over 60 items not in compliance. Recommendations that, and I don't like sharing this story, but I'll share it. So the visiting chairperson is a college president from whatever institution, and the vice president for SACS, COC, sat us in the conference room, and it was Mr. Flores, the board chair, President Sosa, with the president, and the 3-4 deans that we had at the time, and he basically just let us have it. The last thing he said is, I don't know how you're going to fix this, but here's what you got to do. And it's a horrible situation to be in, to be in that situation where you have so many items that you have to address. Fast forward to the 2016, and so we were out of the 2005. We were delayed a year because we had to do a focus report and before we got finally accredited clean. So our next one in 2016, 0 recommendations. So we went from 68, 72, something like that, to 0. When they left in October, they said, you're good to go. And so that's kind of the chalk mark that I've given our team, is I want to be in that situation again, come October this year. But it's that 2004 year was horrible. It was not a good place to be. The deans at the time looked at each other and said, you know, do we show up to work tomorrow? And that's how bad it was.
All the deficiencies that we had and stuff, and it was all new to me. It was interesting what happened and all the work it took to correct all the problems that we had. So.
And the other thing that it makes it difficult if you find yourself in that position is they want to see a minimum of 2 cycles. And, you know, when you have a year to respond to something and then be able to provide 2 cycles, 2 annual cycles makes it a huge challenge.
How are the accrediting agencies funded? Is it funded by the member institutions that pay a due every year? And
Yes.
Continue. Sorry.
Well, and,
We digressed.
no, I don't think they're digressions at all. Thank you for that. To answer Mr. Mendoza's question about do they take it seriously? I mean, I've been on several of the committees. About 6 years ago, I got to be on what they call Committee E, which is the committees that read the 5th year reports and the QEP impact report. And there were, I think, 5 committees, and we each had about 12 schools. And we spent about 3 months ahead of time. There's a chairman of each committee, and we have Zoom meetings, and, you know, we're each given parts to focus in on. And, you know, they just call on you, you know, okay, Underwood, you had 5.2. What do you think? And you better have something to say. And so I do hear stories about, you know, committees that are dogs and they don't work hard, but I've never been on one of those. They all take it very seriously. They believe in the process. They believe in the peer review aspect of it, especially. And so they take it very seriously. Yes, sir. So while the hopeful impact, right, of the QEP is positive, it is not a failure if, in fact, we discover through our measurement assessment processes that there are some kind of negative or neutral results. I mean, we hope that, I don't know, student attrition in math classes would get better. Well, it got a little worse. It stayed the same. That's not a failure of the report, and therefore we're not in trouble, right? It's simply the results will be what they are. And then there's another thing that happens, which is nice, is that we can also report on what are called unintended consequences. There's almost always something that happens that we want that we want people to know about on the positive side that we didn't plan for in one of our assessment processes. And so we're also allowed to report that when we do the impact report. Okay. So I've already forgotten. It's just up and down. How many choices are there? Here we go. Oops, that's too far. There we go. So we do have, I think maybe the group is complete. It is. I'm getting nods from the chair. So Ms. Margot Mata over here and Xavier Haynes have agreed to be the co-chairs for the actual writing group. This is a group that will, of volunteers that, not volunteers, volunteers who have agreed to write the report on those 5 components that we had there earlier on. By the way, there's a rubric that the QEP evaluator and that QEP committee, after the 5 years, there's a grading rubric, if you will, that the principal reader and the committees, they apply that rubric to each institution's plan. So it's not like they just sit there and go, it looks good to me. There's a set of criteria that they have to apply to the document itself. So did y'all wave and get recognized? Okay. Are there any of the other folks here on the committee? Oh, there's Lisa over there.
There you
and
go.
over there. Dr. Z. Lisa over there. Yeah. By the way, I want to see if Mr. Mondragon can replicate that pose a while ago, that studious pose. Yeah. So, pardon me. So we have set for ourselves the June 6th deadline to have it finished here, or at least sure enough, better than rough draft, and that we will submit it to SAC CSE electronically on or about September 1. That's about 6 weeks before the committee will be here. So as I mentioned a while ago, excuse me, over about a 1.5 year process of getting information from all sorts of constituents, we had a literal, pardon me, a literal vote on the top 3 statements that came out of all that input. And you see there the numbers, the actual literal numbers of the vote. You'll notice they're pretty close, and you'll also notice almost immediately that connection and belonging and engagement in student life, and then the middle one, improving the sense of mental health, are all related, certainly in some way. What we talked about basically is that the third one is sort of one of the, perhaps a means among others, to get to one or both of the top 2. However, since the winner is the biggest vote getter, the actual statement that we are asking in the action item here for y'all, you still writing down, Mr. Moreno? I won't flip yet for you ready. Okay. So this is the winner, the winning statement, that our QP will have the basic focus, the basic intent to improve Southwest Texas college students' sense of a connection or belonging to the college. And so that is the actual action item on the agenda. We're asking for the board's affirmation of that, approval of that. And I think we've already.
I already asked all the questions.
I should have been, I guess not. I'm happy to answer anything else or calling somebody out here to answer. Okay. No, thanks for your interest, seriously, because it's the kind of thing that some people hear and they go, oh, it's time just to quit paying attention. So thank you so much for your interest.
You need a motion to approve the quality enhancement program.
Yes, sir. I'll move.
A second.
Motion and second has been made to approve the quality enhancement program. All in favor, shall say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda is to consider an act on a strategic plan targets and metrics.
Dr. Shell will be presenting this, and in the theme of our accreditation, so strategic plans, objectives, and targets are good business, but they're also standard 7.1 in our accrediting response, and we have to demonstrate that we do have a strategic plan, that we do measure, and we do have targets. And incidentally, when you hear the reports, you see towards the end of it, you see SPI, strategic plan initiatives. So those initiatives that each department tackles are driven from these specific targets that we're trying to meet. So that's kind of how it ties together.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. So I'm here with the strategic plan targets and metrics, baselines and targets, really. And among other reasons, one of the biggest reasons, or the biggest reason, is just like Dr. Gonzalez said, that we need to report to SAC-COC that we in fact do have a strategic plan and we use it in seeking our goals at the college. It's one of the several data-driven approaches that we take. And, you know, we really do try at the college throughout to take a data-driven approach. And the reason that matters and that why metrics matter other than SAC-COC is because it informs our decision-making, holds us accountable. These targets all align with the HB8 Community College Finance Bill as well. And when we do annual and mid-plan reviews, that helps us to assess our progress, but it also helps us to refine any strategies that we have for improvement. I'm just going to give a little recap of the 4 strategic goals. Goal 1 is to help students start or enroll. And under that, we have to foster inclusivity and engagement for students and stakeholders. Goal 2 is to persist and succeed. champion opportunities for student success. Goal 3 is to complete and ascend or increase personal, professional, and community growth. And goal 4, to develop and innovate, sustain a culture of continuous improvement. So with goal 1, start and enroll, we have objective 1.1. That objective is to increase student enrollment by 500 students by 2030. This is a 5-year strategic plan. So you'll see those top 3 that are highlighted in gray. Those are the means by where are the places that will get those 500 students. So that first one, we want to increase the number of students with no dual credit classes who come to SWTX after high school graduation. Right now, we have 1,838 students with no dual credit as a baseline. We want to increase that over 5 years to 2,114. That's 276 students. That second line there, increase the number of students with dual credit hours who come to SWTX after high school graduation. Baseline is 1,371. We're looking to increase that to 1,577. That's an increase of 206 students. And then increase the number of AEL students who transition from the AEL program to SWTX as college students. Baseline is 123. We're looking to increase that by 18 students to 141. That gets us the 500 student increase by 2030. Then below that total line are 2 other just kind of subsets of students that we're looking to increase. And those are students in high demand fields. And this aligns with HB8, with the Community College Finance Bill. A student in a high that is getting a certificate in a high demand field is better for us. We make more money off of a student, just pretty frankly, we make more money off a student in a high demand field. So baseline is 1,404. We're looking to increase that to 1,500, or an increase of 96 students. And then increase the number of students enrolled in fields of study. So you heard earlier about the criminal justice field of study. We also have a business field of study, and then we've got, is it 6 new ones coming on? New fields of study coming on very, very soon. We're looking at a baseline of 388 students in fields of study. We're wanting to increase that to 450. I think that's very doable with 6 new ones coming on. So that'll make 8 fields of study. That's an increase of 62 students.
Dr. Shell, is that like surgical program, the surgical tech, and those new ones that we're?
Those are not fields of study. Those are certificate programs. So those would be, and I believe that surgical tech falls in one of the high demand. Is it a high demand, Dean Ruman? Do you?
A medical program.
I think it is a high demand. I'm pretty sure it's on the high demand list. Yes, sir. Fields of study are more academic in nature. So they're going to be things like a field of study in psychology, a field of study in biology, a field of study in sociology, that kind of thing. And your high demand fields are going to be more on the technical side. Okay. Objective 1.2, we're still under that goal 1, start enroll. Objective 1.2 is to enhance students' sense of connection, and that lines right up with the QEP, enhance students' sense of connection to SWTX, as demonstrated by pride, ownership, culture, identity, inclusivity, and engagement. So we have 3 metrics that we're tracking there. The first is to increase participation in student events. That top number 180 as the baseline is an average number of students that attend our larger events, like our fairs, our large interest events. That's an average number. We're looking to increase that by 11% to 200 students average. And then the 30 refers to the smaller seminars, workshops, more classroom style activities and events. We're looking to increase that by 16% to 35 students average. Then that middle one, you'll see that that's blacked out. We have not established a baseline yet. We just had our first question about this on our graduation survey at the December graduation. And we don't feel like we have enough data yet to establish a baseline. We want to have a May graduation where we ask that same question to get that baseline established. So we'll report that one back later on once we establish that baseline and come up with a target. That third thing there, increase student-led initiatives and clubs. Right now we have 27 clubs throughout our campuses. As a baseline, we're looking to increase that to 30. Okay. Goal 2, persist, succeed. So objective 2.1 is to increase the number and percentage of pre-collegiate students achieving 15 credits that meet requirements for a certificate or degree. This lines right up with HB8, and I do want to kind of define pre-collegiate for you really quick. Pre-collegiate includes dual credit, early college, high school, early college academy, and P-Tech. It's all of those different types of delivery for dual credit courses. So where am I? Yes. So we're looking to increase the number of straight dual credit students that get 15 credits that meet a certificate or degree from 452 as the baseline to 497. That's a 10% increase. We lumped early college, high school, early college academy, and P-Tech together, established a baseline of 143 students that have obtained 15 credits. We're looking at a target of 158 students, which is a 10.5% increase. Objective 2.2, increase the number and percentage of students achieving 15 credits and transferring to a Texas university. So this again lines right up with HB8. And I do want to remind you, again, I said it earlier, but the National Student Clearinghouse is the database that we use to track transfer students and where students, it tells us where students go after they leave us if they're transferring. That NSC data runs 18 months to 24 months behind. So these numbers do look low. I just want to give that as a caveat because they are behind. And that's just, unfortunately, the nature of the beast. So dual credit students that are getting 15 hours and transferring to a Texas university, Texas Public University. No, did we include everybody? This is every transfer, yeah. It's less than 1% of that population. So we had 9. We're looking to increase that target or increase that to 11 students, which is a 15% increase. Students who had previously taken dual credit with us, those students, there's about 1% of the population, 19 students who get 15 and transfer. We're looking to increase that by 15% again to 22 students. And then students that are not dual credit, they have no previous dual credit. They're just coming to college after high school graduation with no dual credit. There's 87 students. We're looking to increase that to 100 students, which again is a 15% increase. Objective 2.3, again, we're still under goal 2, persist, succeed. This one is to increase the persistence rate of students. So there are 2 persistence rates that we're looking at. One is the fall to spring persistence rate. The other is the fall to fall. And we have this divided up, and I'll explain as I go. Academic students, their fall to spring baseline persistence rate is about 56%. We're looking to increase that by 10% from 599 students to 659 students. Fall to spring retention rate. I'm going to go down instead of going all the way across. Technical students, you'll see there we have a baseline of 46% who persist from fall to spring. We're looking to increase that by 10% to 276 students. And then we did a subset of technical students, or 2 subsets. High demand field students, that's a subset of those technical. We have 72% of those that persist from fall to spring. We're looking to increase that by 10% to 96 students. And then the non-high demand field students, we have a persistence rate of 38% fall to spring.
We're looking to increase that by 10% to 180 students. Now, if you'll go over that dark black line, we'll talk about fall to fall. So academic students, persistence rate, fall to fall. So that's, they start in the fall semester of 2025, and they're still here attending in fall of 26. So fall to fall, right? We have a persistence rate of 52%. We're looking to increase that by 10% to 613 students. Technical students, this is where it gets, I need to do some explaining. So most, if not, well, the majority of our technical programs are 1-year certificate programs. We have a basic level and an advanced level in many of our technical programs. So it is hard to get a fall to fall persistence rate when you have students that are finishing a 1-year certificate and they're not going to be here the next fall because they finished, right? So they have a fall to spring persistence rate, but not a fall to fall. So what we looked at was, okay, how many students that are getting their basic level 1, their basic 1-year certificate are moving on to the advanced 1-year certificate. And we looked at a fall to fall persistence rate for those students. Does that make sense? Okay. So we have a persistence rate of 53% amongst those students. We're looking to increase that by 10% to 81 students. And then again, we did those subsets. So in the high demand fields, 50% persistence rate, we're looking to increase it by 10%. And in the non-high demand fields, we have a 54% persistence rate. We're looking to increase it again by 10%. Okay. Goal 3, complete ascend. Objective 3.1a is to increase the progress to completion rate for academic students. So this one we divided up by 3.1a academic students, 3.1b technical students. And progress to completion rate, we defined that ourselves. So this lines up with HB8. There's that 15 semester credit hour threshold where we receive funding. And I'm just going to explain this a little bit. So traditionally, to be a full-time student, you have to take 12 credits, right? 12 credits to get full-time financial aid, 12 credits. Full-time is just generally accepted as 12 credits. But if you're going to get your degree, your associate's degree in 2 years and not take any summer classes, you need to take 15 credits per semester, right? Because you have to have 60 to graduate. So 60 divided by 15 is 4. It takes you 4 semesters or 2 years, unless you're going to attend summer school. So what we looked at is how many students are getting 15 credits in their first semester. How many students are getting 30 credits in their first year? This also lines up with Kate's Cowboy Promise. And then how many students are getting 45 by the end of their second fall semester, because that would mean that they're making progress toward completion, on-time completion. Am I making sense? Okay. So our baseline for those who get 15 credits in the first term, 34 students or 4%. We're looking to increase that by almost 18% to 40 students. 30 credits by the end of their first year. We have 70 students. We're looking to increase that by a little over 17% to 82 students. And then 45 credits by the end of their second fall semester. We have very few who are doing that, less than 1%. We're looking at 100% increase to get that up to 4 students, but I would hope that it's going to be like 1,000% increase, much more than that. And then moving on to 3.1b. So this is the same thing, progress to completion for technical students. And theirs is a little bit different, right? So if you're in a 1-year certificate program, which I already said, most of our students are in a 1-year certificate program on the technical side. We looked at, are they 50% complete with their program at the end of their first semester? Okay. So for basic certificates, 1-year basic certificates, we have a baseline of 1,674 students who are 50% complete at the end of their first term. We're looking for a target 10% increase to 1,843 students. For the advanced, same thing, 50% complete after their first term. We currently have a baseline of 205 students. We're looking to increase that by 10% to 226 students. Okay. Still under goal 3, complete ascend. Objective 3.2, increase the completion rate. So this is graduation. So we looked at a couple of things, and this does go with that 3.1a and 3.1b. If they're on progress to complete, that's good. They're getting those 15 hours. That's good under HB8. And then they're completing their degree. That's good under HB8, and that's good for them. That's good for students. So we divided this up to students who have had dual credit at some point in their career, and students who did not have any dual credit at any time in their career. So on-time completion, that means that if you were in an associate's degree program, you completed your degree in 2 years. That's what is considered on-time completion. Right now, we have a baseline of 27% of our students with dual credit are completing their, with prior dual credit, are completing their degree in on time. They're completing it on time. We're looking at a target 10% increase to 1,385 students. 150% completion means that if your degree is supposed to take you 2 years to get, you get it in 3 years, 150% of time. Right now, we have a 13%, 150% completion rate. We're looking to increase that by 10%. 200% completion means if it's supposed to take you 2 years, it takes you 4 years. So we have a 4.9% for students who had previous dual credit. We're looking again to increase that by 10%. Without dual credit, without any previous dual credit, on time is 14%. We're looking to increase that by 10%. 150% completion again is 14%, increased by 10%, and 200% completion, 7%. We're looking to increase that by 10%. All right. Goal 3, still objective 3.3, increase academic transfer rate. So we looked at 2 different things. We looked at students who are core complete and transfer, and then students who graduate with a degree and transfer. So our baseline for those who are core complete and transfer is 53 students. That's a 10% rate. We're looking to increase that by 20% to 64 students. And then those who graduate and transfer, 56 students, it's 10% as well. We're looking at a 20% increase to 67. It's a little over 20%. Objective 3.4, increase academic transfer rate. Nope, that should say increase technical employment rate. That is a typo, excuse me. 3.4 is to increase the technical employment rate. So this rate comes from the Legislative Budget Board. We pulled it right off of their report. They go to data sources such as the Texas Workforce Commission. They use some coordinating board reports that we submit, and they come up with this rate. So according to them, we have a 70% technical student employment rate. We're looking to increase that by 10% by 2030. And then goal 4, so the objectives in goal 4 are mostly yes, no's. Did we do this or did we not do this? So those don't necessarily have baselines and targets. I won't read those to you because they're in front of you, but I will go to objective 4.3. So we did have a little bit of data to establish some baselines in 4.3. So that's to develop community relations, such as industry partnerships, service partnerships, recruitment partnerships. We did have some data to establish baselines for service partnerships. We have 3, and recruitment partnerships, we have 4. And then I want to point out that bullet right below the table.
Maria Elena Lara, last time we talked about strategic plan, she asked if we could add something around helping students be better citizens. So we added that we want to graduate students with a strong sense of civic responsibility to encompass her thoughts on that. And then you can read 4.4. Those are pretty much yes, nos. I can answer any questions.
Sounds
That
like
was
you
a
got a
lot.
hell of a job ahead of you.
Yes, sir. We sure do. I like to reach for the stars. I think we all do.
Reach for the stars.
Yes, sir. Any questions?
Thank you so much for that report. I
Thank
think
you.
that's wonderful.
Thank you.
We need a motion to
Yes, sir, please.
act on the strategic plan targets and metrics.
I mean,
A motion's been made.
or did he move and, a second? Okay.
Motion made and seconded to consider an act on the strategic plan targets. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passed. Next on the agenda, we have a consider an act on a March board meeting date.
Yes, sir. So you have the calendar there in your board packet, item number 10. A regular board meeting would fall under March the 20th, which would be spring break. We're proposing that the board allow us to move the meeting to March 27th.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make it.
Motion's been made. Sorry, second.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to move the March board meeting back to March 27th instead of March 20th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Next item on the agenda is consider personnel matters. The board will convene in closed session in accordance with Open Meetings Act, Texas Government's Code 151.072, 151.074 to consider employment of vice president and related matters and discuss leases.
I got to stretch.
See y'all later.
Yeah.
We'll now reconvene in open session to consider an act on employment of vice presidents, chief of staff, deans, and division chairs. Do I have a recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is my recommendation that the board approve contracts for the 25-26 year ending on August 31st, 2026 for all the vice president and chief of staff listed on the memo, as well as the deans and division chairs listed on the subsequent memo.
I'll also move to approve your recommendation.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
A second.
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed unanimously.
Congratulations, all of y'all.
Next item on the agenda is to consider an act on leases.
Yes, sir. It is our recommendation that the board approve the Del Rio hangar lease for a term of 10 years at an amount of $4,200 per year, and that's a 12,000 square foot lease located at Del Rio International Airport.
We need a motion,
Yes, sir, please.
I'll make that motion.
a second.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the Del Rio lease. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No opposition. Motion carried unanimously. Consider an act on aviation equipment purchase.
Yes, sir. It is our recommendation. We had the opportunity to purchase some of the equipment. There's a lot of equipment that's being donated as well. All this equipment will be beneficial to starting up our power plant program in aviation there in Del Rio. It's $37,650.
Do I hear a motion?
We're on 14,
15,
15.
aviation equipment purchase. Need a motion?
I move.
Motion been made. Do we hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to act on aviation equipment purchase. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you all.
Next item on the agenda is adjourned.
Before I adjourn, I you stole my thunder earlier because I wanted to relay congratulations to Hector for being the Uvaldian of the year from our constituent body. And it was very honorable. And I just love the community effort that you do with the college and all of our counties. And
Thank you. It was an honor.
anyway.
Very deserved honor.
Yes, and then last meeting, I failed to thank April when we handed out the showmanship scholarships in Lakey or Real County livestock, our junior livestock show and sale. And she was wonderful, very engaging. The kids liked her and she knew what she was talking about, all of her past experience. So anyway, I did want to relay that. Yes, it was a fun day. No more business. I move we adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second. I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye. Goodbye.
Thank you all for attending.
Now you can go.
Out of business.